Hello, friends and beautiful people. Hey, hey, hey. How are you all? How's everybody feeling? How's everybody doing? It is Kathryn, 5D Visionary Elevated Consciousness Coach, here on this beautiful summer day. Here to do some healing for the group. Here to do some pep talking. We'll see who's going to join live, if anybody. I'm going to keep talking regardless. Let's see if I am live and in the right group. Yes, I am. Okay, groovy. So, I know that there's some people who said they weren't going to be live, and so this is for those who are watching the replay. So if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. This will also be up on my YouTube channel. But I wanted to talk about, first of all, how to stay in your light. Hello. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Elizabeth. How to stay in your light when the world seems incredibly dismal and dark and upsetting and oppressive. First of all, anchor into the truth that the world is not broken. It's not. This world is not broken. We are being shown exactly what we came here to experience here in 3D time-space, which is duality, polarity, contrast. This is, a lot of people don't like to think of it this way, but planet Earth is a giant playground for all of this contrast. And it's in the division that we can see the similarities. It's in the division and the contrast often that we can see what is the better option for us going forward, the better move forward for all of humanity. And we are all responsible for that. Some of us think that the force of one is not very powerful. That would be false. We've been indoctrinated into the belief and the conditioning our entire lives that we don't matter, that one person can't make a difference. You've been lied to. Your energy, your power as a creator being is infinite if it's plugged into the right vessel. So with everything that's going on, if you are asking yourself, is what I'm doing serving to move humanity forward? Is what I'm doing serving to move humanity forward? Because your yes or no answer is going to give you a clue as to what part of self you are plugged into. Ego or higher self. Ascension is very fluid. Ascension is about movement. Ascension is not about stagnation. So if you are asking yourself, is what I'm doing serving to move humanity forward? Or am I staying in the outrage? Am I staying stagnant and I'm not moving because I'm in so much anger or hatred or fear and locked into that level of perception? Asking yourself that question will help you crack that egg of your perception that seems very stagnant, that is not moving, that is not flowing. Ascension is about movement. Ascension is fluid. It is about elevation into higher consciousness. This means that we must always be accessing ever-increasing stages of awareness, stations of consciousness. That is ascension. When we are not doing that, when we are staying in any one level of consciousness, we are in ego. And especially if we are locked into levels of perception that are keeping us in hate, anger, division, and even inner division on an interpersonal level, if you're feeling that rife conflict within, chances are the ego has got a stranglehold on the conversation that you're having within yourself. This is a time to really check your ego. And I know a lot of people are like, well, I'm holding the light here. I'm doing what I can. Well, is what you're doing serving to move humanity forward? Remember, ascension is a collective process, but it begins on an individual level. And we are signaling to each other all the time through the DNA how to act, how to think, how to feel, how to behave. Our attitudes, our opinions are reflected to each other through DNA signaling all day, every day, 24/7, all the time. You are responsible for that signal that you are emitting. What are you telling the rest of your human brothers and sisters through your own DNA signaling? Are you telling others to stay in fear because that's what you're doing? Or are you telling others through the DNA, through what you are anchoring, what light you're anchoring into, because you are paying attention to the higher self part of you more than the ego self part of you? Are you signaling that message through the DNA of light and love and togetherness and unity consciousness, the law of one? Are you signaling that to your human brothers and sisters? When you are not checking your ego, and you may be thinking that, having some sort of righteous indignation and, screaming and angst and anger, and it's okay to do that. It's okay to have those emotions. But is it moving humanity forward to stay there? We should decry what's happening. We should be upset about what's happening because it is not for the highest and best good of all. It's not moving humanity forward. Some of us would feel like it's breaking the world or it's moving us backwards. No, it's contrast. What are you doing with this information? When you are given the gift of seeing contrast play out right in front of you, it is a gift. Because it is showing you polar opposites, dual opposites of ways of being. Which one are you choosing? And which one is serving to move humanity forward by what you are feeling, what you are anchoring into? If you want to anchor the light on the planet, I have to ask you, are you letting your ego self drive the bus of you, or are you letting your higher self? Because these are very, very different mechanisms. The ego self, the lower base emotions, survival state consciousness, all of that is locked into a level of perception that is locked into a false ascension grid, okay? This has a finite energy supply. So when you're coming at certain things in the world, certain events that make you feel outraged, make you feel division, make you feel separation, make you feel angry and upset with the rest of humanity, if you are locking yourself into that level of perception, you're feeling that at an ego level. And that is a finite, let's just say, energy matrix grid of energy. It taps out, which means you reach a breaking point and you tap out. You burn out your central nervous system. So you don't sleep, you're depressed, you feel like, what's the friggin' point of any of this? You want to go back home. A lot of people want to go back home right now. All my starseed friends. It is our responsibility to bring home here. We bring the light here. That's why you incarnated. So when you are tapped into the ego self, you are tapped into a finite energy grid. This is why if you're coming at all this stuff that's happening in the world now, from you plugged into a level of perception that is ego, you will burn yourself out. You will fuse out your central nervous system. So here today, we are going to work on that a little bit. If you are plugged into your higher self, when all this is happening, not only do you give yourself the gift of having discernment through the contrast of what's playing out right in front of you, rather than judgment, because if you're coming at things from a level of ego, you will be in judgment. If you are coming at things from a level of higher self, you will be coming at it with discernment. You can discern what can be the highest and best choice for all based on what you're going to do, what you're going to think, what you're going to feel, how you're going to act, how you're going to behave, how you're going to treat other humans. When you are plugged into your higher self and you are acting in accordance with your higher self, you are sending a message through your DNA, through the rest of humanity, that this is how we do this, folks. This is how we move forward. We can only do that from the place of love. Fear and outrage and staying in that level of perception, locked into that egg of perception, is you in ego, and that does not drive humanity forward. The big takeaway here is that this world is not broken. We are being gifted with an opportunity to see how we can, with discernment, make better decisions for ourselves and the entire human family going forward. We've been taught and conditioned to believe that it's a competitive world. It's survival of the fittest out there. Lies, lies, lies. Those who would hold us back from our ascension process would love for us to keep believing that. They would love for us to keep believing that we're not powerful creator beings, creating at the speed of thought, because this is what we are accelerating into as a way of being on this planet, in this 3D time space, as we are rapidly moving through fourth dimensional time space, which is still kind of astral fantasy realm, but it's also a place where we can see the last gasp of things that need to play out here in the human drama, so that we can finally suss out what works and what doesn't. We can see what doesn't work. There are those who will hold us back from our ascension, that don't want us to believe that we have the power, when we come together in love, to create the entire new timeline for this planet and take this planet on an ascension trajectory that would leave us all in awe. This is possible, but only if you believe that if you act from your higher self vantage point instead of from your ego vantage point, that you can do this. That when you are acting from that place of perception, you are signaling to others through the DNA like a beacon, like a lighthouse, lit up like the brightest light on the planet, signaling to everyone around you through the heart. This is where we need to be, folks. This is where the real change makers are. The ones who are in their heart, the ones who are in their higher self. And those are going to be the ones who are going to lead the planet in the direction that we want to see it go to. So if you're constantly asking yourself this question while everything is going on, is what I'm doing serving to move humanity forward? It's an opportunity for you to check exactly where you are and redirect your energy back to your higher self. Yes? Hi, Sarah. Hi, Abigail. Abigail says yes. Yes, absolutely. Because when you are tapping into the higher self, here's what happens. When you are coming at anything and everything from this level of perception of you being in your higher self vantage point, you are tapped into an infinite pure source grid. That means you will never get depleted in your energy. If you are coming at anything and everything from that level of self. We have the opportunity to be in our higher self vantage point all day, every day. It's just that we're not conditioned to that. No one teaches us that when we're in school, because we're not taught from the time that we're little to be empowered. Because that is a system that keeps the energy and all the power in the hands of the few rather than in the hands of the many. Everything that you're taught in school is about following the line, following the party line. If we hope to move humanity forward, you got to think outside of that box, brothers and sisters, because it ain't happening. Everything is getting a reboot, a reform, a reconceptualizing. It's up to you to imagine what this new world can look like and start living that out like it's already happening, because it is. So keep redirecting your energy back to your higher self. And always that pivot point will occur when you ask questions like, is what I'm doing serving to move humanity forward? And that's what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're believing, how you're behaving. your attitudes you're holding, your beliefs, your opinions that you're holding, all of it matters. You matter. And when you are plugged into that higher self perspective, you are plugged into that infinite source grid of energy. You will never get depleted in this vantage point of self. Never, ever, ever. You will always have plenty of energy. You will always have plenty of support. You will always have plenty of love pushing you and supporting you from behind. Always and ever. Trust that. Surrender to that. Be empowered by that. Your central nervous system will never burn out if you are in your higher self vantage point all the time. And you can be, but it is a choice. That is your free will choice. So what we're going to do here today is tap into the gateway to the solar spine. And so this is a very powerful activation that I actually give in my Timelines Expanded class, right when you start that class, because it helps you to access that realignment point to the original soul matrix. That's the infinite energy grid that you can pull energy from in these times that are very trying, that are very challenging. This is access through your higher self. You can't access this through the ego because the ego is not a big enough container to hold all this light. You have so much light. The ego cannot be a container big enough to hold that light, but your higher self can. Your higher self can hold infinite light spectrums, light bandwidths with ease. But only if you're tapped into your higher self can you access that. So this helps you to access that realignment point to the original soul matrix of pure source being. You cycle energy through this galactic gateway located in the physical body, which we're going to connect to here in a second. And it allows you to access liquid light information that supports, upgrades, stabilizes the frequency of your central nervous system. This is what we all need right now. Okay? The gateway to the solar spine starts at the base of the skull. So right where you have that soft spot, the base of the skull, it meets the solar, meets the spinal gateway. This is a spiritual portal. Okay, this is just one of the many psychic centers that you have in the brain and in the brain stem. So this is the area that houses the autonomic nerves at the cervical ganglion. So back here in the nerve is a network in the hollow part at the nape of the neck and on both sides of the physical spinal column. So what we're accessing here is the etheric halo that is around the spine. All of your organs, your entire being has an etheric halo, but so do all your organs, so do all of your cells, so do all of your tissues, the fascia in the body. It all has an etheric halo. Everything has an etheric imprint or halo. So what we're accessing here is the etheric crystalline spine that forms a halo around the physical spine. This is your access to the universe. All the ancient civilizations knew how to tap into this. But it allows you to activate the carbon-based cells in your body into 5D pre-crystalline form. So this is kind of yes, it's an activation, but it is also a trigger. And it can be really powerful to help you remain stabilized in your central nervous system. This upgrades the frequency of it. So activating this area also enables the nervous system of your physical being to respond to very intense ascension energies. We have a really intense full moon and it's eclipse season now. So we have the intensity that a lunar eclipse can bring to our lives. So that can kind of pump your central nervous system into overdrive. So we don't want that. We want to stabilize it. We want to fortify it. And that's exactly what this activation does. When you're working anytime with increased harmonics of universal space-time, meaning you are shifting into a higher frequency, or why I teach this specifically is because when you're bending, collapsing, jumping time, it can cause a little disruption in your central nervous system simply because it's not used to you working at that levels of dimensional awareness. So until you stabilize with that, it's really good to give your nervous system a little help, okay? So all you have to do is just, if you have water, please drink some water. And I should mention that I am right now running some Healy frequencies for you. I don't know if you can see the little green light flashing. Can you see it? Maybe. But I'm running some frequencies on the group. I asked the group for some permission. I asked from my higher self to the higher self of the group. Yes, a group has a higher self. If it was okay to run frequencies on some of the chakras. So right after I'm done with this, because I'm running it in the background as I am doing this live, I will post the results of what happens for the group. Excuse me, we're fortifying the crown, we're fortifying the heart chakra with the Healy device. So all you have to do is just get comfortable. Wherever you are, if you're seated, you're lying down, just get nice and comfy. Take a couple deep breaths. And focus your energy on your body. And anywhere in your body that you feel any kind of discord or disruption, you feel distracted in your energy. And it could be by the thoughts that you're holding right now. If you have something you need to do, that you need to walk away from this right now, but you want to sit here and take this in, just promise yourself, just to give the ego a little bit of a breather here, promise yourself that you will do that right after this is over. And that way it'll help you kind of get it off of your mind a little bit. It could be any task you're thinking about a bill, you just remembered you have to pay a bill, or you have to call somebody. Just promise yourself, I'm going to take this time for me now, and I promise to do this right after this talk is over. And you'll find your energy will just ease up a little bit and open up a little bit more. Roll your shoulders back a little bit to open up the chest. This is a gesture of receiving. Move your head from side to side and just kind of roll it around. Kind of open up the area of the neck and the jaw. Just kind of let all that tension go. We hold a lot of tension unconsciously in the neck and the shoulders and the jaw especially. So just loosen that up. And any tension that you might feel at the top of the head or the back of the head, just imagine my hand and the ethereal kind of running along the top of your skull and down the back of your skull, down the back of your neck, and just feeling that soothing feeling. Almost like when you're a little kid and someone stroked your head, and just, it always felt very calming and very nice, hopefully. And just imagine just me doing that to you right now, just soothing that area at the back of the head and at the base of the spine. And just feel that energy just kind of wash down the back and the shoulders, kind of gently wash down the entireness of your back, the entirety of your back. And just go down the legs. And just feel a gentle wash of energy now down the front of the body, just going down the face, soothing any muscles, any tension in the face or the jaw, the neck, shoulders of the chest. Just feel like a gentle wash of energy, and going down the front of you, down the legs, down through all the joints of the legs, the knees and the ankles, and then down and out through the feet. And then now just allowing this energy to gently wash down through all the layers of the earth, letting any tension, tightness, distortion, or distraction in the body just gently wash through and be transmuted by the earth energies. And take it all the way down to the core of Mama Earth, and allowing all those energies to be transmuted and cleared and feeling yourself kind of floaty but very grounded at the same time. And now I want you to just mentally, you can close your eyes here, connect with the back of your head. Imagine you as your higher self looking at your physical body. And your higher self is behind you and looking at the back of your physical body. And I want you to observe yourself with reverence and with love and respect and honor as you being a creator being of light. Look how powerful you are. Notice and honor that inner strength that kind of exudes from you and forms a halo of very powerful, beautiful energy around you. Your higher self sees you, even in the physical, as a luminous being. Connect with that. And imagine sending your physical body waves of love. And now I want you to connect with the base of the spine. I'm sorry, not the base of the spine, the base of the skull where it meets the top of the spine. That little soft part at the back of your head, just kind of zero in on that from your higher self perspective. And just zoom in on that area. I want you to imagine there forming a little ball of golden light. It's about as big as, let's just say, maybe a small marble. And it's getting bigger now, almost to the size of a softball. And it's very luminous, it's very vibrant, it has a kind of golden effervescence to it. And it's soothing that area, but it's always emanating this light out to all of the other psychic centers in the skull, inside the brain. You can almost see it sending out like sparks of light, but it's like a soft kind of effervescence, maybe even kind of a wispiness. And now I want you to connect with this ball as like a liquid light. It has like a viscous quality to it, almost like honey. And I want you to imagine now this ball of light, letting this liquid light go and go down in a halo around your physical spine. Imagine two streams of this liquid light coating and surrounding your physical spine. And from your higher self's vantage point, you are seeing this happen, and this flowing. And you'll see different nerve connections lighting up as you are activating different points along the central nervous system that are right now depleted or not communicating properly within the central nervous system or to all the other systems within your body. This is upgrading your central nervous system to communicate from your higher self to the physical body how to hold more light. With this shifting and elevating surge of ascension frequencies and the lunar frequencies that are happening, all of the stressors that are here on the planet right now is putting your poor central nervous system into overdrive. This dripping of this liquid light, this ascended, elevated, pure source grid light is upgrading, stabilizing, bringing more flexibility to, elevating the size of this container of you to be able to hold more light with comfort and ease, limiting your necessity or tendency to go into any kind of physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual crisis. feel like this loving cocoon of light surrounding the spine, central nervous system, and reaching now the base of the spine. It's communicating with your root chakra, how to feel more stabilized, to feel like this is my home and it is safe to be here. And when I am safe and secure and stable in this body, on this planet, it is easier for me to be a conduit of higher source light and bring that sense of home here to this home. You are hooked into the infinite source grid of light now. Anytime you redirect your perception back to your higher self, you are plugging back into all of the energy of this upgraded etheric halo around your physical spine. You are plugged into the infinite source grid energy of pure consciousness, the universal energy matrix, not the false ascension matrix that we keep plugging into when we keep going back into ego. That is a finite source grid. That's why we get depleted when we are in that level of perception. Breathe deep and let this energy radiate out from this area to the entirety of your physical body. Let this energy fill you up. Allow yourself to receive this fully in worthiness of the true creator being that you are. You are worthy of this level of abundance and so much more. Take in that which is, that elevated part of you, that infinite you, that has a wellspring of infinite energy, support, creation, imagination, love at your fingertips all the time. But only when you are plugged into your higher self vantage point can you access this. Let this feeling resonate through you, so you create a visceral, a kinetic memory of this. So you remember this energy exchange. You are downloading this feeling into your entire cellular memory right now, so that you can access this at any time you desire or intend to, and receive the same level of replenishment, the same level of fortification and support, this kind of enlivening of the spirit, a remembrance of who you are in your soul level. Simply take this in and breathe in deep. And now breathe out. Open your eyes and look at the world now, or the room that you're in this higher self vantage point. Notice how everything has this kind of sparkly, or maybe even kind of wispy, fluid, even plasmic kind of quality to it. You see the luminosity in all things. You are anchored into the light instead of the dark here. How does that feel? Let's stay here for a minute more. Does that feel enlivening? Does it feel enlightening? Does it feel like it's kind of lifted a pall or a barrier over your physical body and allowed you to feel more light, more effervescent maybe? Not so heavy. Remember that you can access this anytime you like. We have downloaded this into your cellular memory. You can simply ask, allow me to access the etheric halo around my physical spine, or allow me to access the golden gateway. Some of you might be feeling tingles in your legs. We're really highly activating the root chakra here as well, because we're connecting this in a line of communication between the base of the spine, which is your root chakra, to the base of the skull. I love to hear how you guys are feeling or responding to this energy. You can occupy this space as long as you like, but always and ever, you want to make sure you ground it when you feel like this transmission is complete for you. You want to take this energy down through the legs, through all the layers of the earth, and ground it into the core of the earth. Because if you feel too ethereal, too floaty, that's when accidents happen. We want to be grounded. It's nice, Elizabeth says. It's okay to give yourself this break. It's wonderful when you allow your higher self vantage point to take over and drive the bus that is you. When you feel good in your body, when your central nervous system isn't on overdrive, you make decisions from a place of discernment and clarity and purity rather than survival state consciousness. We don't make the best decisions when we are in survival state consciousness. And we usually are doing that because the central nervous system is either depleted, it's an overdrive, and we're about to burn that fuse out. But when you are in your higher self vantage point, you are working with a fully functioning, fully articulated nervous system that allows you to make decisions, allows you to see things from a vantage point of clarity and purity. I did this laying under a tree on the grass, very grounding, and at the same time is full of light. And you may even have a sense of, when I do this sometimes, I feel like little light particles, or I see little light particles kind of floating all around me in my periphery, and it's very calming. It's very soothing. And it gives you that kind of maybe validation sometimes that, yeah, we need to see. I need to know that there is a higher self. I need to know that I can interact and have an established and wonderful relationship with your higher self. Remember, you're never not connected to your higher self. It is a shift in awareness to connect with that fully and holistically. And that is always your choice to do so. You're very welcome. So while I was doing this, I was running the Healy frequencies in the background. So I'm going to gather up those reports and then I'm going to send them to you after this is over. But I hope this found you well, and I hope that this gave you some of the fortification and the support and the push maybe to know that this world is not broken. Keep going and anchoring your light. Whom are you really serving if you keep raising your fists in the air in outrage? Are you serving the machine of fear, or are you serving the machine of love? Is what I'm doing serving to move humanity forward? That is your pivot question that will always allow you to see, am I in my ego self vantage point, or am I in my higher self vantage point? Which would I rather be viewing my life from, perceiving my life from? And from the higher self vantage point, when we're perceiving from that level, you're signaling to everyone else through the DNA how to be at that level as well. So thank you all for being here. You're very welcome. I hope that this was lovely. Make sure you take that energy, stay here as long as you like, but make sure when you're done with this transmission of energy that you just imagine taking it down through the body and grounding it into the earth and saying, I'm grounded, I am grounded, I am grounded, okay? You don't want to stay in this place and go drive a car or operate any heavy machinery, okay? That was so powerful, Sarah says. Let me read it down here. I felt myself being healed in the womb as a fetus. Then I saw my children also being healed. I cried hard, thank you. Oh, I hope it was a good cry, Sarah, like a good purge. But bless you and bless your family and bless all of you here. Much love and much light to you all. Peace.